Fred Allen Barry, an actor who once became a cultural icon, faced a tumultuous career and life filled with highs and lows. Born on March 19, 1951, in St. Louis, Missouri, Barry grew up in the inner-city housing projects. This challenging upbringing shaped his worldview and gave him a unique perspective on life. In 1965, Barry's family relocated to Los Angeles. From a young age, Barry showed an interest in dancing, which became his passion. However, academics weren't his strong suit, and he dropped out of high school in the 10th grade, citing frustrations with his educational environment. Determined to pursue his dreams, Barry began performing as a street dancer and later joined a renowned Los Angeles-based dance troupe, the Lockers. The group achieved fame, performing as opening acts for major stars like Bill Cosby and Dean Martin. Barry's talent and charisma as a dancer opened doors to television. He legally changed his middle name to Rerun after his success in the popular sitcom What's Happening. Barry's small-screen debut included appearances on the dance show Soul Train and an early episode of Saturday Night Live in 1975, but it was his role as Freddie Rerun Stubbs in the ABC sitcom What's Happening that catapulted him to stardom in 1976. Interestingly, the producers initially envisioned a skinny white actor for the role of Rerun. However, Barry's charm and skills convinced them to cast him instead. The show revolved around three teenagers, Rerun, Raj, and Dwayne, navigating life in the predominantly African-American neighborhood of Watts, Los Angeles. It became the first African-American teen sitcom to rank in the Nielsen Top 30 during its debut season. Freddie Rerun Stubbs became an instant hit with viewers. His signature red beret, suspenders, and infectious dance moves made him a beloved character. Despite the show's comedic tone, it addressed the realities of African-American teenagers' lives in the 1970s, offering an alternative to stereotypes prevalent in other shows of the era. However, Barry's newfound fame also brought challenges. By the age of 29, he was a millionaire, but his success led to struggles with substance abuse and financial mismanagement. Barry reportedly spent over $1 million on drugs, luxury cars, homes, and even a private plane. His personal issues made it difficult to sustain his career. Moreover, his association with the Rerun character limited his opportunities, as he found himself typecast and unable to secure diverse acting roles. Despite his efforts, his career stagnated after What's Happening ended in 1979. Behind the scenes, Barry's outspoken nature and demands for better pay created tensions with the show's producers. During the second season, he and co-star Ernest Thomas staged a walkout demanding fairer compensation and better accommodations. While the studio eventually resolved the dispute, the incident strained Barry's relationship with executives. In the third season, Barry threatened another strike, which ultimately contributed to the show's cancellation in 1979, when What's Happening returned as a sequel, What's Happening Now? In 1985, Barry reprised his role as an older Rerun. However, history repeated itself. Barry's demands for higher pay led to his dismissal before the end of the first season. The studio, unwilling to negotiate further, moved forward without him. Barry's personal life was equally turbulent. He was married 6 times to 4 different women, with 2 of those marriages ending in remarriage. His final wife, Essie Barry, remained with him until his death. Despite moments of joy, his marriages were often marked by conflict and reports of abuse. Barry struggled with depression, addiction, and financial instability, even attempting suicide 3 times. He eventually entered a substance abuse treatment program and found solace in religion, becoming a Baptist minister and motivational speaker in his later years. Health challenges plagued Barry as well. By 1990, he weighed nearly 300 pounds and was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Under his doctor's guidance, Barry adopted a healthier lifestyle, losing over 100 pounds. Despite these efforts, his health continued to decline. In October 2003, Barry suffered a stroke and passed away shortly after at the age of 52. He was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in the Hollywood Hills. Fred Barry's story is a complex one. He was a trailblazer who brought joy to millions with his portrayal of Rerun, but he also struggled to navigate the pressures of fame and the systemic challenges faced by Black actors in Hollywood. His widow, Essie Barry, has argued that Fred's outspoken fight for fair pay and recognition was a stand not just for himself, but for the broader African American community in the entertainment industry. In the end, Fred Barry's legacy is a mix of triumphs and tribulations, serving as a poignant reminder of the costs of stardom and the enduring impact of his contributions to television history. Fred Barry, the portly actor best known for his comic turn as Rerun on the hit ABC sitcom What's Happening. In the late 1970s, died in 2003 at the age of 52 in Los Angeles. Barry never returned to the stardom he attained early in his career, but became a minister and motivational speaker later in his life. One of his last roles was a cameo in the 2003 David Spade movie Dickie Roberts, former child star. He was exactly like he was on TV, a very happy, lovable guy that made everyone laugh, Spade told People. Born on March 13, 1951, Barry grew up in public housing in St. Louis, Missouri. He was a dancer on the long-running dance show Soul Train for a number of years, and his fleet-footed moves eventually landed him in a Los Angeles breakdance troupe called the Lockers. The group made a very early appearance on NBC's Saturday Night Live during its first season in 1975. But true stardom for Barry came a year later when he joined the cast of a new ABC sitcom called What's Happening. The show was the brainchild of Eric Monti, who had written the acclaimed 1975 film Cooley High about African-American teens in a 1960s Chicago high school. Monti created a television series about a trio of high school pals in Los Angeles, centered around the studious Roger Raj Thomas, played by Ernest Thomas. Barry was already in his mid-20s when cast as teenaged Freddie Rerun Stubbs, and he managed to win the part over the objections of the show's producers, who originally had a skinny white actor in mind. The heavy-set, easygoing character earned his Rerun nickname because he had to repeat all his classes during summer school. His perpetual wisecracking and disco dance moves quickly stole the show away from Thomas and the third pal, Dwayne, played by Haywood Nelson. Barry usually sported a trademark red beret and suspenders, and his Rerun soon became a household name. His typical greeting to Raj and Dwayne, "Hey, hey, hey," even entered the vernacular for a time. The show's writers began building scripts around Rerun's antics, with the plots carried along by the scrapes in which he found himself, and inadvertently, his friends, enmeshed. Though What's Happening was set in the present time, there seemed little evidence of the troubles that plagued many African-American urban communities in the mid to late 1970s. It was sometimes referred to as the Black version of Happy Days, a top-rated ABC hit sitcom of the era that was set in the 1950s. What's Happening aired at a time, wrote San Francisco Chronicle writer Peter Hartlaub, when television executives seemed transfixed with hip urban comedies. While other shows in that decade typecast young Black men as street toughs, basketball stars, and scratching and surviving welfare recipients, What's Happening was about three friends who hung out at the soda shop and dealt mostly with the struggles of being a teenager. Alas, Barry did not handle the fame and fortune well. He later said that in 3 years he had spent much of his earnings, and then battled substance abuse and health problems for much of his life. "I was empty inside," he told People in 1996. "I blew $1 million on drugs, real estate, an airplane, horses, the whole 9 yards." The show went off the air in 1979, but became surprisingly popular in syndicated reruns, garnering new fans every year. It returned as What's Happening Now. In 1985, with the nearly all of the original cast and followed their lives as adults. Rerun was now a used car salesperson, but Barry appeared only for the first of its 3 seasons after a contractual dispute with the show's producers. Some of the later comic energy was supplied by a young Martin Lawrence in its final season in 1987 to 88. After entering a substance abuse treatment program, Barry struggled financially for a number of years. Film roles were few and far between. He earned money from shopping mall appearances and became a motivational speaker and Baptist minister in Madison, Alabama, at the Little Shiloh Primitive Baptist Church. "Today, I live strictly on faith," he said in the 1996 People interview. "I have to depend on people calling me to speak." He appeared in the 1998 film In the Hood and in Big Money Hustlers 2 years later, 2 little-seen projects, but fans everywhere still recognized him from What's Happening. "I'm still called Rerun, and I love it," he once said, according to an article in London's Guardian newspaper by Shola Adenekan. "People ask me to dance every day, no matter where I am, in the grocery store or in the bathroom." He even legally changed his middle name to Rerun. Barry enjoyed a bit of a comeback in the years just before his death. He appeared on the NBC series Scrubs as himself in 2001, took part in Stardates on the cable network E! A year later, and guested on Snoop Dogg's Doggy Fizzle Televizzle on MTV. In 2003, he appeared as himself in the Dickie Roberts film With Spade. His last television appearance came just weeks before he died on the syndicated show Classmates, which reunites former friends from their school days. Barry appeared with Charles Bradshaw, a beefy football player whom he thanked for defending him when other kids teased him because of his weight. Barry had lost some of his excess pounds in the 1990s after learning he had diabetes. He suffered a stroke in 2003 and died on October 21st of that year. He was the father of 3 children and had been married 6 times in all, though on 2 of those occasions he remarried an ex-wife.